Hello everyone and welcome to Watch Me Work session. This is Paula's hand. You've seen Paula's hand before. She has a previous New Year set. I think it was a yellow and the glitters over the white base. This time she's back with a blue and grey set. As you see, I've done one hand already and I'll walk you through how I do that particular style in her other hand. So just a basic vertical ombre between the grey and the blue color, and for the rest of the nail she just gonna have the baby blue color. So the nails is prepped. I'll set removed, of course. We prep the nail, clean the cuticles, trim the length, shape the nails, and we also dip in the base coat, which is the clear layer underneath, always the first layer. So now I'm going to start applying the solutions onto the nails so we can start our second layer. We'll do the ombre fingers first, so we'll start with the first color. So we're doing vertical ombre, not your usual horizontal. So just turn the fingers on the side as much as possible. Don't worry about whether it's not too straight, and then just sprinkle your first color down and then do your second color on the leftover side. So with ombre, you just want to make sure that you brush off the excess dust quite quickly. So you can see the ombre hasn't come out clearly yet, but that's alright, that's just our first coat. So just remember, with that finger we've done the grey first, the blue after. Now we come on to our second finger. Once again the base, plenty of base, and this time we're going to sprinkle the blue first. Just that how I like the order for it to go. And then we'll finish off the second finger with the grey on the other side. So keep in mind the order of the color that we first done on the second layer, because when we come back and do the third layer we will switch the order of the color around. So the colors still stay where they are, but you do the order differently. So before this particular finger we've done the grey first. Now we're going to do the blue side first. So put your base on and then you go straight to the blue side first, and you want that blue to go over the grey a little bit. And this is how you create that blending effect when you're doing ombre. It's the same theory apply whether you do horizontal or vertical. You do your first color, you do your second color. Come back for the next coat, you will do your second color first, but bring your second color slightly overlapping your first color, and then once again you do your first color again. And if after two coats and the ombre still hasn't turned out perfectly blend that like you want, then you can simply move on to the third coat. But it's the same, swap the order around. So the third coat you will do the first color first and bring the first color overlapping the second color a little bit, and then you do the second color. So second finger I switch, I do the grey first and then I do the blue. And just by switching the color and by moving the color overlapping each other a little bit, that's how you create that blend between the two color. So there, our ombre color is all done. So now we moved on to the other three fingers, and we're just going to dip them straight in color. So remember they already have a base coat underneath, so we're just going to do a couple of layers of colors over them. So you do your first coat and then you do your second coat after. So that's the second finger. And then you moved on to the thumb. So the first layer of color, you always want to put plenty of base on, and the base have to cover the full nail. So we're coming back now, doing the base for the second layer of color. So from the second layer onward, I usually do a couple of nails at a time just to cut short the time. So once you have a full layer of powder cover the nail, your solution base will stay wet a little bit longer, so you can move on to several fingers at once. However, when you do your base coat, or when you do your very first color layer, you want to dip your powder in as soon as you finish putting on your base, because the base solution sitting on the nail, the naked nails, it will dry out quicker than sitting on the powder. So when you first do your color layer, of course our base doesn't cover the full nails, right? Our base only cover up to 70 or 80% of the nails. So the first color will always have that line that rims around the cuticle, that meeting against your natural nails. So that area will tend to dry out quicker if you tend to do multiple fingers at once. So for the very first color layer, just do the solution, then do the powder on straight away. Then after that, from your second color layer, third color layer, you can do multiple fingers at once. You don't have to do one by one anymore. So now I'm coming back and I'm going for a third coat of the color. This will probably be my final color coat. We'll do a clear over this and that's it, we'll be done. We'll do a little bit design on the two ombre nails and then we'll finish the set. This is a very basic style of design, as basic as it can get, but I think it still looks good in the end. It still create a point of difference. So now we're going through both hands and we're putting clear coat. I don't know about you, but I have a thing with vertical ombre instead of the normal horizontal. I don't know why. I think when it goes on like that, I think it creates a different look, something that you don't see all the time, and that's where it creates that sort of wow factor. And especially on short nails as well, I think doing a vertical ombre on short nails will look better than if you were doing horizontal ombre on a short nails, because there's not much room to work around, or you have to divide your sections up. I do slightly, the tips is a little bit shorter than the cuticle, the base area, whereas vertical you can pretty much mix them up, and even if you mess up, honestly nobody can tell because it's uncommon. Yeah, so we've done the clear on all the ombre nails. Don't know why, there's no particular formula. You can do the whole hands. Oh, I know why, because I want to double clear on the ombre layer. Yeah, that's right, because I have 3 coats of color but I only have 2 coats of ombre, so that's why we add another coat of clear just so that all our nails have even layers. So now we will go and dip in clear. So you can see I've do multiple color at the same time, because as mentioned before, our base will not dry out as quickly when it's sitting over powder. It dry out quicker when it's sitting over your natural nails. So we do our thumb. When you're doing short nails, and if you don't want it to look bulky on the side, on the first couple of coat, just make sure you don't go around the side too much. Just stick to the right to the edge, and so then there's no powder going right across the side of your nails to create a bit more width. So just stick on right the top surface of the nail and try to stop there. So then the powder will stay nice and curved to your natural nail shape without adding any bulkiness on the sides. So after you put all your clear, we'll go back and then we'll do activators, of course. So we change to our second hand. We're going to do our solution. See how when I'm at the cuticle line, I'm very careful when I'm at the cuticle line and at the size of the nail, because I don't want any excess solution to stay too much on those areas. So where the more solution stay, the more powder will melt into it. So the area that you want least powder to go, you have to thin out the solution base. So we'll dip or we sprinkle our top over. Last but not least is a thumb. And that will be it. I'll just remove any excess powder, and then your activator go on. Activator always go on at the very last, or whenever you want to harden the powder. You don't have to put activator on every single layer. That will be very risky because you tend to use your solution brush again, touching on a wet activator layer, and that will harden up your brush. So only use activator at the very end, or only use activator when you do your color blocking and then you want to harden the color at certain stage so you can file your edges. So now we're just shaping the nails. So as you see, when you dip smoothly and nicely, there's not a lot of shaping to do. You basically just pick out any cuticle that attached to the powder, so push the cuticle out, and then you just follow through with your shaping. So focus on brushing on your solutions and then apply powder. All that concentration will help you minimize your filing times later on. With dipping, and if you do longer nails, it will be harder to keep everything in shape. But just have to be mindful, or if you think you have gone over the edge, just use a finger and then gently wipe off the edges before you put the powder on. So the more you keep it in shape, the quicker it will be for you when it comes to filing and shaping. So make sure you pick the cuticle out. So that's how you remove the edges away from the powder, and that will save a lot of lifting. When we pick the skin around the edges off, oops, sorry, I've gone off angle here. It's a hard thing, you know, doing your nails with all different lighting pointing above you, and the camera and the phone hanging off midair in front of you, and you can't even see the view of the phone, probably because you've got that little clip right in the middle of the phone. So sometimes it's really I try really hard to remember to stay in the zone or in focus, but sometimes I can't help it if I look at it and realize I'm already gone over the edge. But we're still filing our shape on the second hand. 2 more fingers, and then we can move on to the E-file. I think E-file is a lifesaver. If you don't have an E-file, and if you are doing your nail at home, you're spending a lot of time just for shaping and filing. Especially when you do design, you will definitely need an E-file, because design such as overlaid or encapsulating, that will tend to have very thick layer buildup, and you need your E-file to help you to file everything down to a smooth level. Without your E-file, it'd be very, very hard, and I think it'd be more easier to control if you have your E-file, whereas using a nail file, you've got a bigger surface to work with, and you tend to have more accident that way. So the smooth E-filing stage will always use a fine head. When you removing, you want to use a coarse head, but when you smooth and everything out, you use a fine head with a straight edge. So I usually go very gently as well. With dipping, it's not as hard as acrylics. So dipping designed to be a lot finer comparing to acrylics, and because you do brush them layer by layer, they don't build up as thick as acrylics. So when you do your filing, you tend to have less filing to do. So just go very softly, speed very softly, and just watch your edge so you won't have any accident. So this is real time, so I haven't speed up or slow it down or anything. This whole clip is done in real time, so you can get a feel. I don't tend to rush things. I like to do things step by step and at a careful pace. I'm not in a salon. I got my client is booked in their designated time, so I've got all the time I need for one client. I'm not rushing to the next client. So we're just gonna finish our last 2 fingers, then we're gonna change to our cuticle heads. So if you've seen my video before, you know that I've always have a cuticle head, and I will always run my cuticle line with my cuticle head at the very last step. So that's to ensure I have a nice round cuticle line, and also to ensure I have clear out all the skin or all the excess powder, that's sitting on the skin unnecessarily that could create lifting later on. So that's my cuticle head. So it looks very similar to the smooth head, the fine smooth head that we had before, but just narrower, thinner. So you want to use that edge, you're going to go all around the cuticle. Just trimming off powder, straightening out the edge, and also straight off any excess skin. I do think these steps makes a difference if you don't do it. It's also refine your cuticle line as well, so the cuticle line won't look as bulky, and when the nails grow out it looks more natural. So you can use this cuticle head to run around any dry skin around the nails as well, because it's absolutely safe to use on the skin, but we don't want to use just any skin, we use on the dry skin. Especially around those corners, that's where lifting happens the most. When you're using e-file around the skin area, the speed has to be extra slow. Not too slow that it won't cut, but it's slow enough to give you a smooth cut, but it still allow you to be in full control. Because the quicker you tend to do, it will take a lot more focus to control the head. Do a little bit stamping on the ombre nails, and I want the ombre's nails to stay matte, so after we stamp we will use gel polish and the gel matte. If you want it to stay shiny, as mentioned before with stamping on dip, you can just stamp as per usual and then do a coat of the normal non-smudged top. Let it air dry. After that, put your activator over it and let it dry, and then you can do your dip top over it. So that will be the shiny top. But I don't want the design fingers to be shiny this time. I want them to stay matte, so I have to use a gel base over the stamping, so I can put the matte base, the matte top over that gel base. I've heard that I have a matte top for dip as well, but I haven't seen one myself, so I haven't used one yet. We've finished putting activator on the first hand. We're moving on to our second hand now with the activator, and then after that I'll ask the client to rinse her hand, and then we'll come back ready for our top coat. So I'm only doing the dip top over the blue nails, and we will be working on our ombre nails with design after. I do the dip top first, so the nails will have time to dry while we do our design nails, because as mentioned we will use gel on our design nails, and that will dry straight away under your the LED light. So we'll do 2 layers of the dip top So the first layer of dip, you just want to brush through it very quickly. Don't worry too much about the details or whether it hasn't gone out. Cover all the edges. That will happen when you do your second coat of top. Then you will go around the edges more closely and the cuticle more closely, and that will be easier. And that's how you keep the shine on your tip top as well. You want to give them enough solution, and then let it air dry naturally. So after the dip top come on for both of the hands, we got to work on the ombre finger. As I mentioned, I'm going to put a very basic stamping design on those 4 nails, and then I'll just do the matte top. Unfortunately, when I was doing the stamping, I've gone a little bit out of the recording edge, so you got to miss the starting of my stamping. So we're just going to have a look at here now. I've already picked up the stamp, and I'm just going to place, the stamp is in black, and I'm just going to place it across, or not across, but vertically along the nails, because we want to keep that vertical theme going on. And that's it. That's a very basic stamping plate design to go on. You can hand draw this if you like, but I'm a lover of time saver, so if it works, then I'll use it. So after the stamp is all done, I'm going to put 1 layer of the gel base. So I've mentioned before, whenever time you use gel over your dipping, there's 2 steps you need to remember. The first step, you cannot put any activator directly underneath the layer, the gel layer. So after, usually once you finish buffing, you will put activator on before you do your dip top. But if you're using gel, if you know that you're using gel on top of those nails for design, do not put your activator on at that stage. Just clean the hands out at normal, then you do your design depending on what kind of design. This is a stamp design, so the stamp is using normal polish for stamp. Then I will just stamp it straight away first, then I'll do the base coat over the stamp. If you are doing a design in gel, or you're working with foil gel for example, then I will do the normal gel base first, then the foil gel, then the top. So we'll put fingers into LED light to color it, and then I'm going over with the matte top. It's a basic design, but by giving it a different surface texture, it just adds a little bit more to the design without having to do too much. What do you think about the blue and grey ombre with the black stamping over top? So we do the matte top, and then after top everything all dry, then I'm use acetone to clean off any messes around the finger. Sorry, my alignment is not very center. As I say, it takes me a while. I'm still getting used to staying in line of the recording zone. So when you do gel polish, like all the basic principle, make sure you clean out your cuticle line and then cap at the tip of the nails. So there you go, that's the matte look. Don't you think the matte looks a little bit better? It brings out a bit of difference comparing to the shiny dip top. But I gotta say, matte top tend to get dirty quite easily. So if you use it on a bright color like a white color, it will get dirty very quickly. But I think using it on a more darker tone color, it keep longer. So now we're just going to clean up any excess polish. And then we'll do our oil over. And that's it. That's our basics short style design now in blue and grey. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you do enjoy following through all these small episode series of Watch Me Work. Thank you to all the clients that cooperate with me. I know it's not easy, but at least now we have something to look back on later on. Thank you again, and hope you have a lovely time ahead. I'll see you later.